the top stories. In the top stories, autopsy performed on the body of Shaquille Campbell. Growing need for nurses in Guyana as health sector expands. And a dozen first responders injured in an apartment explosion in Germany. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Thursday, May 11th, 2023. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, the police have released the results of an autopsy performed on the body of 27-year-old Shaquille Campbell of Craddock Road, Nevis. The autopsy was done on Tuesday by resident pathologist Dr. Nordica Phillip. Dr. Phillip concluded that death was a result of hypovolemic shock due to multiple gunshot wounds to the chest and back. According to police, on the night of May 3rd, 2023, the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force responded to a report of someone being shot in the Craddock Road area. Upon arrival, police observed Mr. Campbell motionless and seated in an upright position in his car. Further examination revealed that he had been shot several times about the body. He was subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. The Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Aging and Disabilities is planning to deliver several activities designed to promote societal awareness of persons who are blind and partially sighted, thereby changing the perceptions amongst sighted individuals. This was according to Coordinator of Disability Services within the Ministry, Mrs. Maricia Brown, on this week's edition of In Focus. She highlighted an activity in Ghana where government ministers walk certain areas in the country while blindfolded. This, she said, will be replicated in St. Kitts and Nevis.
What the department is doing is that we are preparing to do the same thing here on the 19th, which is next week, Friday. And we already have the buying of a couple of ministers as well as persons in society. So they'll be starting from different points in Bastille at different times. And each person will be blindfolded. Mr. Bowen has some canes that he said he's going to lend. And they'll have a cane, and they'll have a person who's either blind or vision impaired, as well as a person, a sighted person with them. Yes. And they're going to be going to a short distance to see how it is to maneuver through the streets of Bastille.
Mrs. Brown noted that each blindfolded individual will be accompanied by either a blind or visually impaired person as well as a sighted person. Another activity slated for this year to bring awareness to issues faced by blind and partially sighted persons is a blind dinner experience. Mrs. Brown said that the room will either be dark or persons will be blindfolded or both. She noted that other initiatives will also be implemented in 2023 to get the public involved.
And of course, we have consultations and workshops that we want to carry out throughout the rest of the year. It's not just going to tailor just to persons who are blind and vision impaired, but other persons with other types of disabilities.
Mrs. Brown said that the ministry and by extension the government of St. Kitts and Nevis continues to work to ensure that persons who are differently abled are empowered and can lead to productive lives. A delegation from the Federation comprising Denacio Frank from the Energy Unit in St. Kitts and Nelson Stapleton from the Nevis Electricity Company or NEVLEC joined Caribbean counterparts for a recently held energy workshop in Tokyo, Japan. Energy officer within the ministry, Denacio Frank, in an interview said that the workshop was extensive and saw representatives from St. Kitts and Nevis, Japan and Barbados. He explained that the reason for this workshop is that the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, is invested in promoting and developing energy efficiency and renewable energy in the Caribbean. The workshop also encompassed site visits to geothermal plants where top experts in the field of geothermal energy were researching drilling into extremely hot environments. Mr. Frank stated that these are some of the technologies that would not only prove beneficial to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis on a governmental level, but can also be implemented on a household level as well. We move now to news on the regional scene. In Guyana, it is highlighted that Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony has acknowledged the increasing demand for nurses due to the expanding health sector. As Nurses Week is observed, Dr. Anthony encourages nurses to make the most of the available programs and opportunities. More in this report.
With a number of hospitals being constructed in different parts of the country, the call for more nurses was made by Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony on Wednesday at the inaugural launch of the Continuing Nurses Education CNE program at the Regency Hotel, Georgetown. Because the government has been expanding the sector, the current capacity of 250 nurses every 3 years at the various nursing schools is insufficient.
We're building a new hospital at Lima. We're building one at the Kendron in Region 3. We're building 2 here in Region 4, one at Diamond, one at Enmore. We're building one at Bath in Region 5, one at Skeldon. So all these places would require more persons.
Along with a 24-hour service and more specialities expected at these facilities, more nurses are required than is currently available. The construction of new hospitals in Bartica and the hinterland regions are also on the agenda, said the minister.
One of the programs that we are starting is a hybrid program where in partnership, the ministry in partnership with Coursera, we are going to offer the registered nursing program online. We have put out a call for people who are interested in nursing to apply. And I must say we have gotten very good responses.
Training 1,000 nurses per year is a trajectory in which the health sector is heading.
We also recognize that we need to train more nursing assistants. And we have had Mount Sinai looked at our assistant nursing program. It's 18 months right now.
Traditionally, persons from various regions travel to Georgetown for training. However, the ministry is looking to decentralize training programs. Renata Burnett, reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Trinidad and Tobago farmers have been benefiting from training provided by the United States Agency for International Development since 2019. TTT News' Terry Ann Brown Campbell reports.
Since 2019, the United States Agency for International Development has funded a project to train hundreds of local farmers and agro-businesses. This from U.S. Ambassador Candace Bond as she addressed the opening ceremony of USAID's Farmer to Farmer Conference on Wednesday.
United States nation statistics show that Latin America and the Caribbean is now the most food insecure region in the world. It is in this beautiful region, you just can't believe that, but in this beautiful region, it costs more money to secure a healthy meal than in any other part of the world.
Working with the University of the West Indies, Purdue University and Partners of the Americas, stakeholders in the agriculture sector, farmers, agribusinesses and other learning institutions were instructed in the Farmer to Farmer project.
Through this program, we have trained more than 750 people in Trinidad and Tobago and across a number of exciting themes. For example, the local NGO Vision on Mission learned how to employ food preservation and develop product ideas. These efforts not only kept food on people's tables, but also helped expand sales at market.
The aim of the program is to help enhance nutrition and health, increase food safety, create value-added products, as well as to assist farmers in responding to climate change. The two-day conference will review the program and look at the way forward. Terry Ann Brown Campbell, TTT News.
Internationally, 10 firefighters and 2 police officers were injured in an explosion at a flat in Germany. They had been called to the high-rise building after concerns were raised about 2 residents. More in this Euronews report.
A dozen first responders have been injured in what appears to have been a deliberate explosion in the German town of Rattingen. They'd been called after concerns were raised about 2 residents. They broke into a flat and discovered 2 people and a fire inside. One of the inhabitants allegedly detonated a device causing the explosion. 2 police officers and 10 firefighters are being treated for injuries.
Thousands of families in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo lost everything in a landslide last week. Entire villages in the South Kivu province were swept away and more than 400 people have been confirmed dead. 5,000 are still missing. Survivors are struggling to find temporary shelter, food and clothes. Al Jazeera's Catherine Soy reports.
11-year-old Francois Matabishi and his 3 brothers are building a shelter on a hill in the village of Nyamukubi. His parents and other siblings are among those still missing after the landslide. They sleep in the cold, their new home is leaking, and they have no food.
We don't have anyone to help us. We only have the clothes we're wearing. I don't know what to do. We miss our parents, but they're gone.
A short distance away, Birage Kadogo, another survivor, is trying to keep his wife safe and dry. Their children are missing.
I looked for my children, but I couldn't find them. We even searched Lake Kivu. They must be buried underneath the mud.
All these families have similar stories. The landslide killed hundreds of people, relatives, friends, and neighbors. This is very much a community mourning.
People here are trying to do whatever they can to rebuild, but this area is not safe. They say it's been raining heavily every day.
Aid has started trickling in, but the number of people who need help far exceeds the supplies. Government officials say the priority is moving people to safety.
We have formed a committee to gauge when we can declare the end of the search and recovery operation. What is important is to protect those who have been affected and to make sure we have measures in place to avoid another tragedy.
Francois and his brothers tell us they're trying to stay strong, stay alive, and survive. Catherine Soy, Nyamukubi, South Kivu, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Pakistan's government has...
And now for the weather. Present weather is partly cloudy skies with slight dust haze. Winds are a moderate breeze of 13 miles per hour from the northeast. Seas are 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet. Weather forecast in St. Kitts and Nevis today will be partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:34 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:40 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey.